Welcome back. This is going to be 11.10 day 2, and we're going to talk about the slide method again. Yay! And so remember, with yesterday's factoring, this value was always 1. So this is the a value, right? It's always ax squared plus bx plus c. So the a value is always 1. And that makes it pretty easy because in our template we know that these values will just be the variables, so it'd be n and n, or x and x. Well, today you're going to have two numbers that multiply to get the a value, so it'd be 1 and 2 or 2 and 1, so it adds a little more thinking. And so we're going to use what's called the slide method to solve this. So remember, first step is you slide that a value to the left, or sorry, to the right, and that's multiplying. So if I slide this to the right, you now have n squared plus 3n, and then you have 2 times 9, which is 18. So now we're going to factor this guy, this new guy, like normal. Now if you recall back from when we did this in person, a lot of us factored this guy and left it. No, there's steps after it, so we can't just factor this guy and go. Okay, so just like yesterday, good practice from yesterday now. Fill in our template. We're going to have an n and an n. And this is a negative sign. So it's two numbers that multiply negative 18, so one has to be positive, one has to be negative. So let's think. Multiply to be negative 18, add to be positive 3. So factors of 18, well, we could do negative 6 and 3. Negative 6 times 3 is negative 18. But they add to be negative 3. That's not what we need. We need positive 3. So if you actually switch the signs, if 6 is positive and 3 is negative, 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. And 6 plus negative 3 is 3. So you got a positive 6 and a negative 3. Okay, and so this is where a lot of us would quit. Nope. You have to then divide by the number you slid. So we're going to have to divide these two numbers by 2. And we don't want any decimals. You can't use decimals. And the important thing was we had to simplify as much as possible. You have to. Well, 6 divided by 2 is 3. So that's easy. And you can't simplify this guy. You can't simplify 3 over 2. So what you have to do then is if there's any denominator left over, this guy doesn't have one, but if there's any denominator left over, you have to slide it back to the variable in that set of parentheses. So we're sliding it back so the 2 will go out front of the n. So your answer would be n plus 3, 2n minus 3. And you can verify that works by foiling. N times 2n, 2n squared. N times negative 3 is negative 3n. Plus 6n would be 3n. And then 3 times negative 3 would be negative 9. So this would end up being our answer. So remember, this guy right here wasn't our answer. You have to divide by what you slid first. Okay, let's try another one. Well, it looks very similar. You got our number out front, so you got to slide it to the right. So you got n squared plus 5n plus 4, because you multiply 2 times 2. So now we got to factor this guy. I'm not even going to write out our factor diagram, whatever you call it, because this one should be easy. You know it's n times n. This tells us they're both positive or both negative, but they had to be a positive number, so they both have to be positive. Now you think of two numbers that multiply to get, multiply to get 4, add to 5. Well, it's either 2 times 2, which is 4, but 2 plus 2 is 4, so it's not 2's. Or you got 4 times 1, which 4 plus 1 is 5. So we're going to have positive 1 and positive 4. We cannot stop there. You have to divide by that 2 now. So you got n plus 2. So that's simplified. This guy does not, right? 2 does not go into 1 unless you want decimal, but we can't do decimals. So we're going to have to slide the denominator, that bottom number, back to the left. So you got 2n plus 1. And that would be your answer. Okay, let's do a couple more. Now, the ones I picked for you guys today, they shouldn't be too big a number. Sometimes these get pretty big. We have number out front, so we have to slide it to the right, and that's multiplying. So you got n squared minus 18n plus 45. So let's start our template. Well, we know it's going to be an n and an n. And to multiply to get a positive number, they either both have to be negative or both have to be positive. But they add to be a negative number, so they're going to have to both be negative. Okay? And so let's think of numbers that multiply to 45, add to negative 18. Well, we did negative 5 and negative 9. But those add to be negative 14. Not quite. You got negative 3, negative 15. Oh, and those add to be negative 18. So it's trial and error. You just think of numbers that go into 45. So you got negative 3 and negative 15. And then we have to divide both of these by 5. So divide this number by 5 and this number by 5, the number we slid. And simplify as much as possible. Well, on this right one, 5 goes into 15 3 times, but on this left one, 5 doesn't go into 3, so you have to slide it to the left. So you got 5n minus 3, and that would be your answer. Okay, let's do one more. So again, you have a number out front, so you got to slide. So you have n squared plus 37n plus 6. Oh, sorry, plus 36. So now we got to factor n and an n. And we know that they're either both going to be positive or both going to be negative. This tells us they're both going to be positive. So we have to think of numbers that multiply to get 36 and add to be 37. So since these numbers are so big, I know right off the bat 36 and 1. It's the only way you could get numbers that multiply to get 36 but add to be 37. The number's so big. And then you have to divide by 6, the number you slid, and simplify as much as possible. Well, on the left, it does simplify. 36 divided by 6 is 6. Then this guy doesn't simplify, so you got to slide this 6 to the left. So you got 6n plus 1. Okay. So hopefully this is just review for you guys for the slide method. Tomorrow I think we're going to do a review over all factoring, so you'll have to determine if you have to slide or not. Okay. But with that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.